Douglas, are things okay on your end, or? Oh boy. Douglas, are you with us?
His name's not on the participant list, Matt.
What's that?
His name isn't on the 23 people in the participant list.
Yeah, he's using someone else's account, I believe, to log in.
Right. Must be a silent account.
I think it might be a technical issue because I tried to unmute him as well and it wouldn't work.
It looks like he just logged out. Maybe he's just having some technical issues. He was. Oh, here he comes again, I think. Hi, Douglas. Are you able to share your screen and start presenting? Douglas, are you there? Sorry about this, everybody. I think we're having some technical issues on the other end.
That's okay, Matt. I think that hopefully they'll be worked out soon. I wish I could figure out a way to help him.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Alicia, is there anything we can do from this end? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm off campus. I just met with him,
Yeah.
but we met
Oh, no.
him.
Yeah. Yeah, there he is again. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Does anyone has his number? I was trying to find his phone number from his Tilo's web profile, but there's only an email address.
Let me see.
No, I've only met with him on like in Zoom meetings. I haven't used my
same thing.
cell phone.
So I'm wondering if one of us takes the presentation, like takes some of the load off the internet, and then he can present.
I have his originals. I have his original slides.
Oh.
But I don't know if he's tweaked them since.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're chatting it up here with everybody listening. Just trying to find a solution.
No, it's okay. You know, I mean, it's.
We're problem solvers. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's how we're rolling. Well, let me check online.
Wow, I don't really, I haven't seen him even try to log in the last couple of minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
I think really the most that we can really give this situation is maybe 15, at least 15 after, and then if there isn't a resolution, maybe we can reschedule. Or does that sound okay with everybody? I mean, I don't.
Sure. Do you want us to just log in and at quarter after, or stay logged in? What's your preference?
I don't really have one. I mean, you're welcome to do either one. I'm going to stay on though for the next
Yeah, I will too.
6 to 7 minutes.
Alicia, worst case scenario is we could also record it with Douglas and have it posted if they need to circulate it if they can't reschedule.
Yes, that's a
Awesome.
really great idea. I mean, I just emailed them because that's really the only thing I can do at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm going to text someone from his team and see if they can give me his text number. So I'll do that and let you know what I find out.
Cool.
If anybody would like to view a recording of the session so far, I have it recorded too. So. Welcome, Douglas. Douglas, your mic is muted if you're talking, and you're welcome to start sharing your screen.
All right, hello. Am I
Hi.
on now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, no. Yeah, sorry guys. This is not what I intended, but I'm happy that finally I'm able to join in.
Welcome
Okay.
back. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks so much for your patience. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen quick. Yeah, let me put in this slideshow mode. Okay. Are we ready now? Hello?
Yes, yes, we're ready.
All right, great. So hello once again. Yeah, so I'm happy to join you in this presentation. Actually, yeah, to lead this presentation. I'm very excited for this experience. It's my first Rwandan experience, and I think I'm going to treasure this moment. My name is Douglas Asante, and a Zambian friend told me that my name is one of the most appreciative names in Africa, because he told me in Swahili, Asante means thank you. So it tells that I'm really thankful, for being allowed into your space today. I'm originally from Ghana in West Africa, and presently I live in Blacksburg, and precisely in Virginia Tech, where I am having my PhD in the Instructional Design and Technology program. I work with TILOS here in Virginia Tech, and I'm an instructional design support specialist. So over the 2 years, I've had the chance of working with faculty who have been building their courses online. So some decide to port from face-to-face classes to online classes, and others want to build it ground up. So it's been a wonderful experience. I've really enjoyed it. It's a beautiful place here in Blacksburg, but sometimes I miss home. I miss way back when I used to teach students in Ghana. So this is a typical classroom in Ghana. So I'm pointing it, these are because of the uniform, so basically this is what you find of most of the students, this is the basic, the uniform they wear in the basic schools. Good, so see how beautiful, the picture is. Look at their faces. They're so excited because they're in class, working with their colleagues and teachers. And when this pandemic came in, the COVID-19 pandemic set in, I had a chance to interact with my 7-year-old boy who, after schools were closed, had to study from home. So I asked him what he was missing most about school, and he told me that he was missing his teachers and his friends. And so it became a prompter to me that definitely then, if we are porting, to online, or we have the chance to study online, then interactions or building relationships in class should be one key thing we have to look at. So I know definitely within that space of online, online learning and teaching, there will be something that'll be missing. And that informs why I actually chose this topic for this presentation, which is interactions in online learning. So today we're going to walk through what online learning interactions are. We'll look at the kinds we have, and then take a look at some examples. We'll also look at its relevance within the learning space, and then also how we can, as instructors or as instructional designers, integrate interactions into online learning. Remember that engagement is basic. It's a basic need when it comes to teaching and learning in the online learning space, because we would need good outcomes, and the students have to be engaged well within the class. So as instructional designers or as faculty, while we design our courses online, interactions is very, very essential. Great. So because because of the time, let me run through this quick, but let me mention that you can use the chat, drop in your questions. Matt, if you can help me, because I don't know, I am not trusting the technology. I'm in here now, I'm in my computer. So Matt, if at any point, I'm not looking at the chat, you can just give me a hit on that, so that I can answer any questions. But because we are dealing with interactions today, I want the class to, this presentation to be as interactive as it can. So chime in your questions, like drop in any comments that you really wish to put across. So let's quickly look at what interaction is. So basically it involves two objects, and then it also involves the sharing or the reciprocal events that exist between these two objects. So it could be information sharing, it could be conversations and all that. But the basic is that there should be two entities, and then there should be that actions that go back and forth between them. And there are three kinds of that, especially when it comes to working online or teaching and learning online. So we look at the interaction that goes on between the learner and then the learner. Now, let's note that within the teaching and learning space, either face-to-face or online, the learner is always, the object or the subject who always has to be at the center of the entire process. So here we pitch the learner, against the other learners. So it could be the interaction between two learners, like two students, or that goes on among a group of students. Then another kind is the interaction that goes on between the learner and the instructor. The third one is the learner and the content. These are three key kinds that you have to look at when you are designing your course. I have to believe that most of us have been doing the right thing, but we might not have realized that we have been doing it. But with this, knowing that there are these kinds, at least it's going to be a guide for you to help you do the best you can every time. Great. Let's take a quick look at what goes on between two learners. So here I have a question. Do you really feel that the learner-learner interaction improves the learner experience? And if you do, why? And if not, why not? Yes, I'm hoping if anybody wants to, just put in a question, they can do that. If not, and you want to speak up, you can also do that. Do you feel that it really improves the learner experience, or have the learner-learner interaction? Okay, yes. So it does improve it, but then let's look at that. So when we talk about the learner experience, we actually dealing with the opportunity we give to two or more students to interact among themselves. And here we dealing with sharing of information. It could be during an activity. It could be when we have projects for these learners. Now, why do we need that? Why is it essential to have this experience for them? Now, it builds communication, it generates that communication and then builds that sense of community for the learners. Now, they are able to share, ideas from their side and also receive some. And that gives them the notion that they belong somewhere. It makes them feel they're part of a community. And then it also helps them develop skills for good collaborative and for skills for group work and collaborative work, because moving from schools into the world of work, definitely you have to be working with other people. So through that, they are able to learn how to do that. And then feedback from other people help us develop or help us better ourselves. So as they interact with their colleagues, it helps them to have better presentations or at least put their projects out well. And then it sort of motivates them. Once somebody is able to, speak to you constructively about what you're doing, it serves as a motivation. It tells of how caring they are to you, and then also it assures you of the success that you intend for, because you are able to measure from feedback people get whether you're doing what optimally is right or not, so that you can improve it, or if you're doing right, you can keep going ahead with it. And so yes, we'll further talk about how it helps with active learning, and then deep learning too. It improves that. It gets the students to get engaged, within that learning space. Yeah, I'm sorry about the sound. Yeah, I'm sorry about the sound. It's just an announcement going on in the building. Yeah, I hope it doesn't distract us. Yeah, but like I was saying, it helps in active learning and deep learning too, and then it reduces boredom. It cuts down boredom. Imagine you studying alone online somewhere, and then you have nobody else to relate to. Definitely at a point you're going to get bored. But like I said, I miss teaching in the classroom, because I would have all these learners around me. And when I was even a student, back in the day, in my high school and primary school days, I enjoyed, the times I had with, my colleagues. So, you get more engaged when it comes to the learner experience or interactions, and then it finally improves, student outcomes. They're able to perform better because they draw from the reviews that they get from their colleagues, and then it informs how better they should come up with their presentations. Good. So how do we integrate learner interactions into our course design or into our courses, online courses? So we can leverage these discussion tools. For example, students can set up times to meet and then discuss topics via Zoom, Skype, and then the LMS also helps. I learned that you use Canvas, which is great. We use Canvas here too. And so the discussion board in Canvas can help students interact. And here, I mean that the instructor can pose a question there and then ask the students to comment on that. Once they read, they're able to drop their reflections there, and other students can look at that, read, and then add their reviews or their comments to it. So by actually putting up discussion boards, these help for learner interactions. And then you can also leverage the Google tools. And by this, I mean Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. Here, it allows students to co-create their artifacts or the assignments or the projects, because they are able to synchronously share and then work together. Or even if they are unable to do that concurrently, they have the chance to join in anytime they're ready to do that. And also putting up case studies, project-based learning, and problem-based learning. All of these help students to interact. It gets them to work together and share ideas. Peer reviews are also great to use when it comes to, especially when you have larger classes teaching. Good. Let's come to your case, your situation. Are there any unique obstacles in your context that you feel will not allow you to actually have this learner interaction best integrated into your course? Yes, I just want to know if you have any questions here, or if you have any of such issues, you can bring them up and then we'll look at that. Or is there anything you want to know more about up to this point? I hope I'm being heard. Like I said, it's supposed to be very interactive because we're dealing with interactions in the online space. So let me know if there is anything you wanna.
I have a question, Douglas.
Yes.
What can you provide an example of creating problem-based learning in Canvas?
Okay. Yes. Great. So, for example, if within a class or like a topic, you create a problem, like you put up after they do all the readings and all that, you put up a project, or you bring up something that they should work on. You use a discussion board in Canvas. You try to put that up in the discussion board, and then you ask the students to work around it. Do the research, do the readings, and then contribute there. So once everybody tries to work in there, it builds that thread right in the discussion board, and then everybody is able to read whatever is up there, and helps them all to kind of glean something from whatever somebody else put up there, to improve upon what they already know. I hope this helps.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Are there any more? Okay, good. So let's get to the next kind, which is the learner instructor. And here we're talking about what goes on between the instructor and the learner. So like I said, because of the absence of the instructor within that space, you always, like I mentioned, my child missed his teacher. And so you would want to have the teacher's presence, even though physically the teacher is not there. You would want to establish the teacher's presence there in the boy's life as he studies, so that he wouldn't feel that gap, in his study. So you establish the teacher's presence there, and you try to build a connection with the learner, with the teacher, even though physically they are not in the same space. And then also you establish some support system that can help the learner. That shows that somebody cares, or somebody's watching, and somebody's leading. So it's a very essential kind of interaction that you need to put out there. Good. So how do you do that? It's about questions, it's about guidelines, it's about feedbacks, it's about giving clear and detailed information, and also allowing the students to contact you. And by this, I mean blocking off some hours, some office hours, and then you have a consistent dialogue with them. Then also you join in their discussions, especially on discussion boards, while the students interact with each other. The teacher should also be there, dropping in notes here, passing comments here, giving reviews on what the students do. It makes them feel the teacher's presence there. Great. Why do we need that? It, like I said, it creates the presence of the teacher among the students. And then it also stimulates motivation for them. Now with the teacher being present, the students know the range within, or the scope in which they are actually supposed to work as students. And then it also generates that confidence in them that somebody is there, holding my back. Somebody's there to provide me all that guide I need. And it kind of, leads them, like holds their hand through the entire process. So the instructor's presence, it's very, very important here. And the instructor also has the chance to also explain the usefulness of the course, to them. Then the student also develops that interest of being part of the entire process. And like I said, this is how the instructor gets to demonstrate the care they have for the students. Good. So why do we need this? We need this because it's a way to help the instructor understand the strengths of the learner, and even even their weaknesses. Because if the instructor just throws the content there and then sort of imagine or kind of believe that the students would understand whatever the content is or would be able to perform. It might be a mistake here because we vary in strengths. And so while we, and even with our styles or our preferences, so while we interact with these learners as instructors, it allows them that opportunity to, demonstrate where they come short or where their strengths are. And that can also help with the pedagogical strategies that the instructor would want to put forth. Good. So it also makes learning very engagement, especially through feedback. And then, like I said, it gives that information to the instructor to help better their pedagogical strategies. And then, even with the use of technology, we don't imagine or we don't try to think into the minds of the learner. While you engage them in these interactions, you are able to tell which one best suits them, which one they can better work with, so that you can select the best technology for them. Great. So how do we use that? How do we actually integrate this into our online learning space? So with technology application, I want to focus on the LMS. So like I said, when it comes to Canvas, you can put up a discussion board. And thank you, Matt, for asking that, because here the instructor, even though you decided a problem for them to work on, a project, for them to work on, you can put that up with some rubrics on Canvas, in the Canvas discussion board. And the rubric would guide them as to the scope of the project. And then it also help them, be guided about what to actually provide and what not to worry about. So while these discussions go on, the teacher now coming periodically to actually look at all that, and that will help. Now, messages like sending out emails is also a form to, or a way to get the interaction going between the teacher and then the learner. Then the announcement tool is also very important. Let me also mention that the speed reader is also great in Canvas. Now, there is this part which I really want to mention. Because of that transactional deficit that comes up when we are in the online learning space, it's sometimes great to record your announcements. Sometimes at the end of the week or at the end of a project or assignment, you can, go through all that the students did in the course of the week, or while they presented the assignments, and then look at certain points that need to be highlighted. So you come up with a video, a very short video. Make it as brief as you can. Short video. Now, while they look at you in that video, talking to them, mentioning their name, citing their work, quoting certain portions of it, it excites them. It builds that connection. It brings your presence into their learning space. So you might want to look at recording videos now and then to actually talk to them about what you want to, or especially when you decide to review their work. Yeah, that helps. And then you can also set up, times like a block of times where you can have Q&As with them. You use Google Meet, so you can use the Google Meet to actually do that. Then also you can also leverage these collaborative tools in Google, like Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Sheets and Slides. You can use them to interact with them. For example, you give them an assignment, you give them a project to do, you can ask them to work in, let's say, Google Docs, and then you come in there, drop in a comment here, a comment there. It makes them feel your presence around them. It's also best to actually ask the students of their choice of, which mode they actually want to get the communications going, because allowing them to do that, also tells about the care. It demonstrates the care that you as an instructor, you have for them. So they don't feel like you kind of put them under so much pressure or stress to go by what you prefer. All of these build that connection between the learner and the instructor. Any questions here so far? Are there any particular instances or unique instances in your case that you'd want us to look at? Or is there anything more you want to know about this?
Douglas, there are a couple of questions in the chat section there. There was one, or I'm just going to go over a couple. One was about, I guess, the previous section, the student-to-student interaction, and how you might go about getting students to know each other better in an online environment who have never met before. And then the other question was about how learner to learner helps shy students. If you could address either one of those issues.
Okay. All right. Great. So yeah, thank you very much for the questions. Now let me address the first one, where students get to know each other in the class. Great. So it's always advised, and it's very important that on the first day of class, you try to get them to introduce themselves. I remember in one of my courses, I used a tool called Flipgrid. So Flipgrid allows the student to record right, with their phones or whatever devices they have that have cameras. They can record from any point. So it's always good, even though you want the interaction to go on between the learner and the, between two learners. It's always good to get the introduction going, and the instructor must always start, with that. So you can record. We used to ask them to, write something of a text, let's say a discussion board, to introduce themselves. We will still want to even advise that if it's possible. I know that in certain areas, bandwidth issues and trying to get data for internet, it becomes an issue. But if only it is possible, you can go beyond them, introduce themselves by text, and by text, I mean that you can create a discussion board, post there, and then specify what you want them to actually talk about. So it defines the scope. So, some of them don't go quite too far, or some don't get too sketchy about it. So that you allow them to express themselves, tell others of their backgrounds, where they come from, their interests, their strengths. Interestingly, some of the students might share, in certain interests. And so it helps them kind of connect right away from that point. But if you record that in a video, I think it will be very great. So the instructor must always set up, the pace. So you record yourself, introduce yourself, and in that, yes, by extension, you can to talk about even the learner-instructor interaction. This is a way to also do it. So you talk, and then even talk about how they can even navigate their way around the course site, where they can find certain materials, files, what is important to look at. For example, certain assignments, certain discussions and all that, where they are located, and how they can move forward and backward on the site. That's a very great way to do it. Yeah, so allow them to interact by setting up a discussion board, post, or you can create a Google Drive where they can post short videos. Ask them to do like a minute or two videos, so people can see each other by their faces. For all they might go a long way, back in the day where, perhaps they all school together in the same high school, and, it's going to be great seeing each other again. So that's one way to do that. And then the second question, sorry, Matt, you said the second question was?
How learner to learner can help shy students to participate and feel responsible for their learning.
Yes, great. So this is very interesting. Sometimes if you throw all the students out there into one big space, some might not feel comfortable because they're shy, trying to establish their presence there. Some, are quite too meticulous about what they write out there, because they feel that other people might look at it and then look at the errors, the shortcomings about whatever they put out there. So you can start off by putting them, like pairing them up you know. So after they do the introduction, the instructor is able to even tell of their strengths, of the weaknesses, of the, you know, of their interests and all that. You can use this information to pair them up. Try out, you know, using small groupings first, like let's say 2 people or 3 people, and then when they get reviews from their peers, it sort of kind of motivates them to work even within larger groups. So you start up from that point before you throw them out into the bigger pool of the students. Yeah, I hope this helps.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so let's move on to the third category, or the third kind, which is the learner content. And here we're talking about the interaction that goes on, or the interaction that the learner has with the course materials, the course content. And we're talking about books here, videos, audios, slide decks, you know, and all that you can talk about. Why do we actually need this experience or this interaction? We need it because it helps the students to focus on what they are doing. Yes, it helps them, you know, get some more time on task. And then also it also, you know, creates affordances for students who perhaps in one way prefer, let's say, a video to print out, or those who prefer printouts to video. So it's a way to actually, you know, create that affordance for all the learners. So it's important then that the instructor actually builds this. How do we do that? You know, we do that by creating text. We, you know, also would have to create audios and videos for them, and then images are also very important, you know, to do. So looking at how we can apply this. Now for text, Canvas, you know, basically, you know, we can just put in any text there, especially in the discussion boards. We can put in PDFs. We can put in Word documents and all that for students to read. It guides them about what the course actually is headed. So using, like, you know, the Google Suite, the Office Suite, Keynote, Canvas, and all that, it's a way of doing that. And then for videos, here in Virginia Tech, we use Kaltura. I don't know. I don't think you use Kaltura, but there are many video authoring tools, you know, there that some are free, some are not, but you can go for, you know, free ones. You know, record videos for them, and like I said, even if you want to send out announcements or have a weekly review of the assignments or their projects, you can decide to record these videos and then send them out to them. In the coming weeks, so there's going to be a presentation which I'll be part of. We'll be talking more about accessibility and universal design for learning. Now, in presenting these videos and text and you know, visuals for the students, there are certain things you have to look at. You know, you have to create some affordances that can allow all students, and I mean all students, to enjoy using these materials. Yeah. So Kaltura, Camtasia, and all these tools can help in doing that. Photoshop and ThinkLink, even PowerPoint can also help, you know, in creating images. So you can just download these images and then, you know, sort of work on them. You can take your own charts. You can go to the internet, you know, and all that, trying to get these images and then tailor them to suit your class. But while we decide to do that, we might want to look at a few things about content. Because it's an academic space, we would want to stay clean of any legal issues. So copyright and fair use is also one way to, you know, look at. You have to consider, you know, copyright issues, so we don't get the institution, the students, or even ourselves into, you know, trouble. And then accessibility, like I mentioned, we have to also factor in the element of accessibility, so that we can create materials that will serve all the students and not leave anybody out. Let me give you a quick example here. For example, when it comes to videos, it is recommended that video should have closed captions. So there are two forms of captions. We have the closed captions and then the open captions. The open captions stay on the video all throughout, playing the video, it stays on like that. And then the closed captions are such that it takes the user to opt to see it or not. So the closed captions are what is recommended for our videos. Now, these serve not only deaf learners or students who are deaf, but it also helps international students. For example, when I came here to the United States, I realized that I was struggling with the accent. Sometimes in class I wouldn't even make out some words or understand certain words that I mentioned. I remember in one instance, Dr. Lucky mentioned verbatim. We're talking about citing, in our documents and all that. She said, yeah, so verbatim. I struggled with that. What is verbatim? So later on, I realized she was talking about verbatim, which is how, I have always been mentioning it, or how I've heard it, back home where I come from. So with these closed captions, it allows the student to know what actually was mentioned in there. Yeah, so we'll talk more about that, in the coming weeks, talk about how to make these course contents or course materials accessible. So are there any, questions here about how you want to actually integrate this form of interaction in your course? Are there any unique instances in your context where you'd want us to look at? Matt, do I have any questions yet?
There was one about what about larger classes? Like, how do some of the things you talk about influence larger classes?
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, larger classes issue, it's very important. I'm happy you brought that up. Thank you for the question. Good. So, in dealing with larger classes, you can still, leverage the discussion board in Canvas to do that. You can still use the collaborative tools in Google to also do that. Now, you can create groups. You can ask students to work in groups. And while they do that, the instructor can, be, getting into the groups, like jumping into one group, and then another, and then dropping in comments as they actually look at what is going on there. I think these tools in Canvas really, and even in Google, are really very essential and very useful when it comes to, working with large classes. I feel that these tools were even, personally, these tools were even made for large classes because they are able to manage them. Like, it sets them in smaller groups for them to work. And then when they're done with, their group work in the various groups, they are able to put come up with, let's say, a single document, a single statement that represents about 10 people after they have discussed it in their groups. And then they can drop that in the discussion boards for other students to also look at and review that. I hope this works. Hello, Matt.
Hello, I think we're in our last 8
Yes.
minutes here, so
Right. So yes. So I have my,
okay, go ahead.
yeah, I have my final slide here. It's just something to try out. Yes. So a friend who decides to transition, his course, it's an educational psychology course, online because of the COVID. Needs your assistance, to integrate these 3 kinds of interactions in his course. What would be your suggestions here? So it's something meant for everybody. I need your inputs. I need your comments here. Right, any contributions so far? So what do you intend to suggest to your friend to help him out? All right. So yes, like I've been talking about, when it comes to such a situation, the instructor now can start off with an with a learner instructor introduction, and here I'm talking about setting up the space for the learners to introduce themselves to each other, allow them to do that. You can suggest that they do that by videos, by short videos. And here you have to provide the guidelines there so they don't overdo it or they just don't put anything there. So you can specify, mention your name, where you come from, your educational experiences and all that. And then the instructor should also, introduce themselves to the students too. You can do that by video. Then the instructor can also, should also, it's very essential that should also communicate to them which times they are open for interaction with the students, and then and then also the instructor can also chime in anytime they have discussions on the discussion board or they're working in any of those collaborative tools. For learner-learner interactions, we can also advise them to use the discussion boards, for the students, allow them to do peer reviewing, work together in groups, in Google, and in the Google Suite or anywhere. All these help them to actually, and then make your learning content, talking about the printouts, the PDFs, the Word documents, whatever you want to embed in Canvas, make it accessible enough so that all the students can access it and read and understand it. Chunk them up well, make them meaningful enough for the student to actually understand that. And I think with these, we can have a very great online teaching and learning process going on. Right. So yeah, that was a wrap up, and I just want to thank you for this. If there are any questions, you can still ask now, but I just want to say a big thank you for this opportunity. I'm sorry that I couldn't start, off at the time when I was supposed to because of technological issues, but I'm happy that at least we got something going. And this is an experience I'll treasure. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Douglas. Hey, did you want to put your email down for when Matt shares your video and PowerPoint, they can contact you?
Okay, yeah, sure. Yes, I can do that.
Thanks, Douglas.
That real quick.
Thank you, Matt.
It's Douglas, and then my initial Asante. Yeah, so it's Douglas A at bt.edu. Let me do that real quick. White space. Okay. All right.
Thank you very much, Douglas. We appreciate it. I think there's definitely some helpful information there.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for this opportunity. All right.
Thank you all. Nice to meet everybody. Have a great week.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.